And a win is a win is a win is a win, and a win is a win is a win, ladies and gentlemen. The Philadelphia Eagles are now back-to-back NFC East champions, beating the Washington Commanders. Listen, this was a game where we knew we were better, and just securing the win basically does a few things. One, it secures your playoff berth because now you're the division winner. You eliminate Dallas, and you get your mojo back. So quite frankly, this was a good night for the Philadelphia Eagles. 29-18, you win the ball game. Played clean, got the running game going a little bit, looked pretty good. The passing game looked efficient, looked clean, it looked on time. I mean, all those things are true. And the defense, once again, played really well, in my opinion. Couple of things that we're going to have to talk about is Jake Elliot, what's going on with Jake Elliot. And quite frankly, just the course of this season, what we should expect going into the playoffs and what the playoffs should be about right now. For Philadelphia, you string together back-to-back weeks where you don't play down to your competition, you take care of business, and you really just play good, clean football, getting your confidence back. Now, if you played sports in any capacity whatsoever, really, as you get closer to the playoffs, the closer and closer you get, the more and more you want to say, hey, we just want to string together good sequences, good plays, and play good ball. That's what you want to do. And Philadelphia is playing good ball at the right time, despite the competition, despite the fact that it's probably the two or one of the two worst teams in football in the Raiders and in the Commanders, considering the situations that they are in. It's still nice to see them string together games. And listen, when you're an athlete, when you're a player, when you're a competitor in any capacity, everybody's a professional. So when you play good ball, it makes you feel good. And when you're feeling good, you play good. And with the Philadelphia Eagles in particular, because they're a team that front runs, because they're a team that's so highly emotional and just like the emotional layability that they have, you want them to feel confident going in week to week. When you string together losses, when you string together back-to-back bad weeks, it messes with the psyche of the team, and you have a question of whether or not you're going to be able to answer the call or not. And these past 2 weeks, they've answered the call after a string of games where they lost 3 in a row. I'm also a believer of getting your losses out of the way quickly, and that's what the Philadelphia Eagles seem to have done. And tonight's game against Washington, now I didn't make an episode previewing because, the flu's going around, people are getting sick, busy at work, picking up extra hours, all that stuff. But again, this was a game that the Philadelphia Eagles came in, knew they were better than the Washington Commanders, and they played like it. Although that first half, I must say, the Washington Commanders really made it a ball game, and Jake Elliott did not help any matters whatsoever. The fact that he's missed 7 kicks on the year and all of them have come since the bye week is concerning, especially going into the playoffs. That's going to be a problem, especially in an NFC where you got teams like Seattle, the Rams, the Packers, the Bears. I mean, all these teams can score points to a degree, and you're going to need to be able to compile points, especially when you're a defensive-minded team like the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to have a reliable kicker to get 3 when you get close on drives. And tonight was a night where Jake Elliott just looked terrible, missed wide left every single kick. It could just be something in his head, could be something on the swing of the leg, whatever it is, however he's hitting the ball, it's not going to cut it when you get to the playoffs. But the NFC playoffs is so weak, as we've mentioned in past episodes. It's one of the only shots that you have as a Philadelphia Eagle to go on a run potentially in this playoffs, because there's no team that's a quote-unquote juggernaut other than maybe the Rams. And you got to give credit to Seattle because they won a huge game on Thursday Night Football, making the Rams probably have to go on the road in the playoffs, which is a big deal for Matt Stafford having to do travel. All the little things that you need to get an advantage matter once the playoffs arrive. And the Philadelphia Eagles right now, we're at the doorstep of going on a playoff potential run here. You got to get any advantage you can. Winning the division against the Commanders tonight is a good thing. And quite frankly, eliminating Dallas is a nice thing as well. but stringing together wins is more important than anything else. We're going to talk about the quarterback. We already talked about Jake Elliot, but we'll dive into him a little bit more. We'll talk about the Sirianni Hurts era thus far and all the ups and downs that we have and what we could potentially do going into next week against Buffalo. But before we do that, let's introduce you to the show, because this is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here, help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts in the comments section below, and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and hit subscribe. We appreciate your support on the opposite side of the camera and on the opposite side of the airwaves. Let's talk about this offense, ladies and gentlemen, against the Washington Commanders. Again, a team that was down. It was wounded. It was not very good. Okay, let's just be real. To my video audience, you get to see the stat sheet. To my radio audience, I will read off stats that I feel are most important to take away from this game, okay? The Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack, ladies and gentlemen. We finished the day. 34 rushes for 207 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry and 2 scores. It's a big deal. Tank Bigsby had the long 22-yard touchdown. Saquon Barkley had 132 yards on the ground, getting 6.3 a carry and score. That's nice to see. And also Jalen Hurts getting in on the action here. 7 carries for 40 yards. A lot of questions about Jalen Hurts on whether or not he's willing to run the ball. He certainly did that tonight on a few scrambles that picked up some key yardage. Also, speaking of Jalen Hurts, 22 for 30, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 111 rating, keeping the game clean. And then the receivers, A.J. Brown getting his 9 for 95. Devontae Smith had 6 for 40, but with a touchdown. Dallas Goedert had a nice 15-yard touchdown in the end zone on a scramble play by Jalen Hurts. He threw a dart, and Dallas Goedert went up and got the football and made a big play. So the offense right now, these past 2 games, have been playing really well. Jalen Hurts has now have, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions the last 2 games, keeping the completions pretty simple. He's being more decisive on his throws, which is nice to see. He's throwing more on time, and this is what the offense can look like, at least in the passing game, and I'm cool with it looking like this. I don't need it to be 250, 300 yards in the air like some people want it to be with the receivers that we have. This is just more so, hey, can you operate the offense and get the most out of the players that you got? And right now, the Philadelphia Eagles, again, albeit against the Commanders, albeit against the Raiders, albeit against the Bills, who quite frankly don't have a very good defense going into the playoffs either. If you string together some games here where the offense just looks good and it's playing on schedule and you're moving the ball really well, that's kind of the little things that you need going into the playoffs, especially with the team that has the pedigree and the experience that the Philadelphia Eagles have going on runs. It's what you want to see. A.J. Brown's getting his mojo back. Devontae Smith getting his mojo back. The vibes right now in Philadelphia seem to be pretty good, considering you're back-to-back NFC East champions since 2003. That has not been done in this division. So Philadelphia accomplished something tonight that's relative history. I'm not going to say it's historical by any means, because quite frankly, this is what this team should do. They have the talent to do it. Go ahead and win the division. They certainly did that. So kudos to them. But the offense looked good tonight. Okay. Despite the fact that they weren't able to finish some of these drives with 3 points, they put together drives. They looked good. They were running the ball, getting good push up front. It's nice to see them kind of string together some games here and getting their confidence up, okay? Because that's really what the end of the season is for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just getting their confidence back, okay? On the defensive side of the ball, I mean, what else is there to say other than that this defense, and quite frankly, Vic Fangio has completely changed the outlook of this football team in regards to the defense. Again, I'm going to pull up the stat sheet once more. You know, again, you're holding a team to 90 yards rushing. They were one of the top 5 rushing attacks in all of football, the Washington Commanders, despite the fact that their passing offense did not look great. Again, you knocked out Marcus Mariota in the game. You know, you held him to 95 yards. Josh Johnson came in, God bless him, 43 yards on the day. He had the interception to Cooper DeJean. It was just a game where the talent outmatched the Commanders. That's simply what it was. So these past 2 weeks, we've played against really bad football teams who have been down with injuries, who are just bad with talent, and we've played against backup quarterbacks, and we've made them pay, and that's quite frankly what you want to see out of the Philadelphia Eagles team. I won't take away too much in that sense. despite the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles have just been playing really good ball on the defensive side, of my opinion, all year long. So I trust what I see by the defense. And another thing about this defense is Vic Fangio. And okay, I'm going to go a little bit on a tangent here in regards to the Washington Commanders game because this is more of a reactionary show. But we saw this past week some commentary in regards to progressions versus coverage reads. Kirk Cousins had a lot to say about it. In these past few weeks, Eagle fans have been seeing videos by Kurt Warner and Nick Foles and other people analyzing this Eagles offense, talking about what the right reads are, what the quarterback's seeing, how they can fix the offense, yada, yada, yada. Whatever school of thought that you have, one thing's for damn sure. To confuse a quarterback, you got to make them believe they're seeing one thing, and then post-snap, they see something completely different. And that's Vic Fangio's MO. In that sense, again, it's not necessarily something people think about or talk about, and it's kind of a nerdy football conversation, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Vic Fangio changed the game of football in that sense. He has changed the way defenses go about attacking offenses. Confusion of the quarterback is the way to optimize defensive output. It's the way to minimize offensive potency. You cut the head of the snake and everything else crumbles. As people say, or as they say, whoever the hell they are. And that's another thing about that saying. Who the hell are these people that say, hey, that's what people say? Which people are you speaking of? I digress. People say a fish rots from the head down. I don't know about you. I don't really like to look at rotten fish or be around rotten fish, so I tend not to be around rotten fish. So I'm going to take people's words for it that that's how a fish rots. And if that's the case, you cut the head off the snake, you cut the head off the fish, which is the quarterback, and then everything trickles down from there. That's how you beat an offense. And Vic Fangio, that guy is one of the best, if not the best defensive coordinator in football at confusing opposing offenses and, quite frankly, frustrating opposing play callers. That's what he does. And when you have a quarterback that's not a supercomputer like Matt Stafford or some of the other elite guys in the league, or who don't have elite arm talent, you're in for a long, long night. And in these playoffs, outside of Matt Stafford in the NFC and maybe Baker Mayfield, I don't know if there's any quarterback that you could say that's going to be able to decipher the defense and cut through it like a butter knife. A hot butter knife, I should say. So you're always going to have a chance with Vic Fangio in the game. And when you're playing against a team, now I'm going back to the Commanders, when you're playing a team like the Commanders, they absolutely have no shot without Jaden Daniels at the helm in that sense. And again, kudos to Marcus Mariota, because I thought he's actually played well this year, considering the situation that he's been in. He took it to the Broncos, won a game for them last week. It's just one of those things where you're facing a team that's just more talented than you, and that's what it was. So the Philadelphia Eagles took care of business. You're back-to-back NFC champions, NFC East champions, and now you got Buffalo next week on the road, and that is going to be a very important game, and that, quite frankly, for a lot of Eagle doubters, is going to be a game that tells you a lot about the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you string together a third game in a row against an elite opponent? Now, again, elite in the sense that they're going to be one of the favorites in the AFC. So if you go out and play either really well against Buffalo or flat out beat them, all of a sudden, this Philadelphia Eagles team goes into the playoffs with some juice that we as fans were not seeing halfway through the season. And that's significant. That is a significant thing to see. And anyone who doubts the fact that we took it to the Raiders and we took it to the Commanders, if you go out and beat the Buffalo Bills, all of a sudden you say to yourself, hey, this is the third game in a row, and you got to win against Buffalo, and now you're going into the playoffs on a little bit of a streak. The offense is looking good. The defense is playing well. Everybody seems confident. The vibes are feeling good. And in a weak NFC, as I mentioned before, it's not necessarily how good you were playing. It's how well you're playing going into the dance. Because once you're there, all the records are 0-0. It don't matter what you did in the regular season. Once you're in the dance, it's how you play. And again, let's go down some of these playoff teams. The Rams, they have Matt Stafford. We trust him in the playoffs. Absolutely. He's going to be the toughest out that we have in the NFC. No doubt about it. Baker Mayfield, again, another guy I believe is a playoff performer. He's probably going to be in the dance unless Carolina wins the division, right? And if it's Bryce Young, do you really trust Bryce Young in a big spot in the playoffs? I don't know. Caleb Williams and the Bears, again, opportunistic defense, elite running game. Do you trust the quarterback? I don't know. I would trust Jalen Hurts over Caleb Williams too, even though I like Caleb Williams. Sam Darnold, need I say more? He had a big game Thursday night, and maybe that's something that could help him get over the hump a little bit. But in a game where you need a drive and you have Jalen Hurts and Sam Darnold, who do you want? I think I kind of want Jalen Hurts in a big spot, in my opinion, okay? Again, that's just my cup of tea. It could be biased because I'm an Eagles fan, but neither here nor there. And the other guy's Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy, again, he outside of Baker and Matt Stafford and obviously Jalen Hurts, he's the guy that you're going to say, and hey, he's got the most playoff experience amongst these guys. He's been to 2 NFC title games. He could play. And then obviously Jordan Love is there, but do you really trust Jordan Love? He's up and down, young guy, as hot and as nuclear as he can get. He can also be just as incompetent. So in an NFC like this, it's about stringing together game after game, good play after good play. It don't matter how you played in November. How you played going from mid-December onwards, that's the important thing. And objectively speaking, despite the opponent, the Philadelphia Eagles have been playing at least decent football. Stringing together right plays at the right time. That's all you can ask for at this point. So a win against Buffalo potentially could change the course of your season in a positive way, especially if you go and get a win. Well, the loss, if it's a blowout, that completely changes the conversation too. Absolutely. You got to look at both sides of the coins here. But it all starts with beating the Raiders, beating the Commanders the way you did tonight. And now you're looking forward to the next week at Buffalo in a big spot. Can you win that football game? And I don't care how it looks winning it. You just got to go out there and win. And quite frankly, around this time of year, while I've been critical of Jalen Hurts, this is when usually Jalen Hurts says, hey, keep the main thing. And then they kind of, do their thing. So I'm going to trust the Philadelphia Eagles amongst the playoff teams, despite their track record in 2025. And listen, 2025 is a funky ass year. So once the playoffs happen, who knows what the hell is going to go? What the hell is going to happen? What the hell is going on? The Rams have been teetering in terms of their play from how they looked in the beginning of the year and health-wise. We're going to be getting Jalen Carter back. We're going to be getting Lane Johnson back. The defense is picking up steam. The offense is starting to pick up steam and confidence. You're getting your mojo back. That's an important thing. So this win tonight against the Commanders, while it may not necessarily be the most impressive thing in terms of who you played, it really leads to a string of events that could happen for the Eagles where they could go on a mini run. Now, I am not going to sit here and suggest like, hey, we're definitely winning the Super Bowl. We got to go out here and play this week to week, because next week you could go out to Buffalo and get your ass kicked, and all of a sudden the conversation changes. I'm taking this week to week for the Philadelphia Eagles at this point, but if you're going to project some wins here, those are the outcomes of the wins. And they're a team that kind of looks more long-term in their overall season outlook versus little moments. You take the season through quarters of the year, 4-week periods, 4-week periods, 4-week periods, 4-week periods. You do that every month or so. And now you're going to have a sample size of good football going into the playoffs at the right time. And quite frankly, while we would like to have a bye week, you're probably going to rest your starters the last week against the Commanders. So you have a bye week there. And then you have a track record of good football, some rest, and healthy starters going into the playoffs. Again, and depending on how the seeds fall, who we play against, whether it's, a team like the Bucks or a team like, whoever the 7th or 6th seed is going to be, it's a significant advantage to have, especially now because you're going to be hosting a playoff game. So you got to win games here. You got to string together some good football, and the Philadelphia Eagles are doing that. And quite frankly, that's an important thing that I'm going to take away from this game. But the main concern is Jake Elliott and whether or not he's going to be able to get right. He did it last season. Let's see if he can do it now. And hopefully this is just a mirage and he gets right going into Buffalo and into the Commanders game and into the playoffs down the line. On that note, everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. But for now, we celebrate a win and back-to-back NFC East champions in the Philadelphia Eagles. So go Birds, fly Eagles fly. We'll see you back here next time at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.